everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Darren and Jack arrive at the hospital to receive the results of whether Darren is a match with JJ's bone marrow. However, JJ has vanished from the hospital. Nancy interrupts Frankie and Vicky to tell her about JJ not responding to treatment and that Darren is a potential match for his bone marrow. Nancy then has to rush off after taking an urgent call. Frankie realizes that they might look to her as a donor. Vicky assures her she wouldn't have to do it. JJ is ill and trying to hide out in the village. He leaves a note for Frankie in Price Slice. Mercedes spots JJ is out of the hospital, and as she tries to talk to him, he collapses. Nancy calls an ambulance. At the hospital, Perry tells Darren that JJ has pneumonia. Vicky tells Dylan she has to find a way to help distraught Frankie. Misbah has a heart-to-heart with Vicky. Outside the hospital, Darren is upset and tries to tell Frankie that he hasn't taken JJ's side, but also can't abandon him and asks her to try and understand. Meanwhile, Donnie is in hot water with Misbah, and this is the last straw. Elsewhere, Mercedes needs a huge favor from Grace as she tells her that she is desperate. But will Grace risk losing everything to help her friend? Grace is going that day to get the drugs needed to help Mercedes. Mercedes points out they both have something to lose. Freddie brings Curtis round for emergency babysitting to Mercedes. Hollyoaks fans, brace yourselves for an emotionally charged week ahead, as JJ's health takes center stage in a heartbreaking storyline that will have you glued to your screens. JJ Morgan, the beloved son of Darren Osborne and Nancy Hayton, has been a bright spark in the lives of the Osborne family, but beneath his cheerful exterior, a dark storm is brewing. What starts as mild concerns over JJ's health will soon spiral into a life-threatening situation, leaving the Osborne family in turmoil. The beginning of trouble. Over the past few weeks, viewers have noticed subtle hints of JJ not feeling his best. He's been lethargic, skipping meals, and complaining about headaches. Initially, Darren and Nancy dismiss it as exhaustion from school, sports, and general childhood growing pains. Nancy, the ever-doting mother, chalks it up to JJ needing a break, and Darren's laid-back attitude offers little concern. But in the latest episode, things escalate when JJ collapses during football practice. This isn't the first time JJ has shown signs of illness, but this collapse is different. It's more severe and frightening. As Darren rushes to his son's side, panic sets in. JJ is unresponsive, his breathing shallow. The atmosphere is tense as paramedics arrive on the scene and rush JJ to the hospital. A mother's intuition, Nancy is devastated by the news and can't help but blame herself for not acting sooner. Her instincts had told her something was wrong with JJ for weeks, but every time she brought it up, it was met with reassurances from Darren that JJ was just tired or under the weather. Now, with her son lying unconscious in a hospital bed, Nancy is racked with guilt. At the hospital, Nancy and Darren are forced to confront the reality that JJ's condition is far worse than they imagined. The doctors run tests, and the results are troubling. JJ's symptoms, fatigue, headaches, dizziness, are not just from a virus or childhood illness, but something more serious. The Osborne family has already been through so much, and Nancy fears that they're facing another nightmare. She tries to remain strong for JJ, but it's clear the stress is weighing heavily on her. The diagnosis. As the doctors continue their investigation, it's revealed that JJ has an underlying health condition that had gone undiagnosed for years. The specifics are left vague at first, creating a tense mystery around his illness, but the fear in Nancy and Darren's eyes tells the story. Dr. Misbah Malik, ever the pillar of strength, steps in to explain the next steps. Jay's condition isn't something that can be cured with medication or rest. He requires immediate surgery to relieve pressure in his brain, caused by a rare neurological condition. This news hits Darren and Nancy like a ton of bricks. Surgery. For their little boy, it feels impossible, too much to bear. Nancy, always pragmatic and logical, begins researching everything she can about JJ's condition, while Darren, in true Darren fashion, hides his emotions behind bravado and jokes. But underneath, Darren is terrified. He can't bear the thought of losing his son, and he's struggling to come to terms with the gravity of the situation. The stress of JJ's health crisis begins to take its toll on the Osborne family dynamic. With Nancy hyper-focused on JJ's treatment and Darren avoiding his emotions, the couple starts to drift apart. Old wounds are reopened as Nancy blames Darren for not taking JJ's earlier symptoms seriously, and Darren feels helpless in the face of his son's illness. Jack Osborne, always the patriarch, tries to keep the peace, but even he is overwhelmed by the seriousness of JJ's condition. His attempts to comfort Nancy fall flat as she grows more distant, burying herself in research and conversations with doctors. Jack is left feeling powerless, and viewers will see him retreat into himself, unsure of how to help his family through this crisis. As tensions rise, Darren makes a mistake that could cost him dearly. Overwhelmed by guilt and fear, he turns to the pub, seeking solace in alcohol. It's a move that mirrors his past struggles with addiction, and it's clear that Darren is on a dangerous path. With JJ's health in jeopardy, the last thing the family needs is for Darren to spiral. But it seems like history might be repeating itself. Hope and desperation. In the midst of this chaos, viewers will see a glimmer of hope. The doctors believe that JJ's surgery could save his life, but the road to recovery will be long and fraught with uncertainty. Darren and Nancy must come together to support their son, but can they set aside their differences in time to be there for JJ when he needs them the most? Nancy, ever the warrior, refuses to give up. She throws herself into advocating for JJ, refusing to let the doctors treat him as just another case. Her fierce determination is both admirable and heartbreaking, as she balances her own fears with a need to be strong for her son. Meanwhile, Darren, shaken by his own failings, realizes that he needs to step up. In a touching moment, viewers will see Darren make a vow to JJ. He won't let him down again. It's a promise that could be the turning point in both JJ's recovery and Darren's own battle with his inner demons. A cliffhanger ending. The episode ends on a nail-biting cliffhanger as JJ is wheeled into surgery. Nancy holds Darren's hand, their differences momentarily forgotten as they stand united for their son. The waiting room is tense, filled with silent prayers and unspoken fears. As the doors to the operating room swing shut, viewers are left wondering, will JJ survive the surgery? Can Nancy and Darren repair their fractured relationship in time to be the support system their son needs? Or will JJ's health crisis tear the Osborne family apart for good? With JJ's fate hanging in the balance, Hollyoaks fans will have to wait with bated breath to see what happens next. This storyline is sure to tug at the heartstrings and leave viewers eagerly anticipating the next chapter in JJ's emotional journey. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Hollyoaks Update YouTube channel for more update news.